Boom. We just did the countdown. Welcome to the Digital Drop live 9 a.m. Eastern every single weekday, kicking off your day with some work from home goodness. We're crazy. We're doing this every freaking day. Andrew Perrin is here. Ross A. Dillon is here. And we're talking about how to get more people to care about your content. We're talking about getting people to actually comment, to engage with your content. Maybe actually click the links below your content and to maybe actually give a shit about you. How do you make that happen? How do you get people to actually give a crap about you? We're going to talk all about that today because it's not easy and it requires a lot of effort. Let's get into it, my friends. So Ross A. Dillon, I'm going to kick it over to you to get this thing going. You have the most engaged Twitter account out there and for gaming. And I see you engaging nonstop. I was just looking last night at VGF Gamers. You're replying to comments at freaking midnight. You're a madman. So how have you gotten literally millions of people to actually give a shit about what you're posting on Twitter? How'd you do it?
All right. Well, let's break this down. How to make people give a shit about you on Twitter, or let's just call it social media because it applies everywhere. Step one, give a shit about them. And that's pretty much the bottom line to it. If you're not, it's a similar situation, right? It's a similar situation where, and I may not know where I'm going with this example, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know how people that you haven't talked to over the, past couple years or whatnot, and you see them and they're like, I never heard from you. As if, they sent you a text message or they gave you a phone call too. It's like, it works the same way in social media, okay? You can't expect people to be engaging with you if you're not engaging with them. Now, obviously, you can go back and, by the way, all the big Twitter pages, all the big, meme pages, go back and look when they first started, if you're even able to. They were engaging with people. That's one of the strategies that actually made them grow. And it's something that I continue to do on mine. And now, because when you show interest in somebody and not fake interest, not, send them a little emoji or something like that, but actually engage and try to have a conversation with people, which is what AWOL kind of hinted to. It takes a long time, especially when you're getting a lot of comments and stuff, but that's the goal. Show an interest in them, a legitimate interest in what they like and what the topic is, what you're talking about. And that creates almost a friendship. In a way, even though you guys barely know each other, maybe that's essentially what you're doing. It's a different kind of friendship. Am I wrong, guys?
Yeah, you're thinking of this as a relationship building sort of strategy. And the only way to build a relationship with somebody is you don't talk at their face. I didn't build a friendship and a professional relationship with Andrew Perrin by being like, Perrin, listen to me and shut up and never say anything. Just listen to what I'm posting and shut up. That's not the way relationships go. So I like thinking about it like that. It's a relationship. It requires effort and time. And one example, and I'll kick it over to you in a second, Perrin. One example of a creator that does a great job with this is Darsizzle Offshore. One of our clients, we helped launch their podcast and also help do their branding as well. And one thing that Darcy brings up, and just the Darsizzle Offshore team bring up, is that it's really sad when you look at somebody's tweets and they have more tweets than they have tweets and replies. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to see them replying way more often than they're actually tweeting. And it's this whole concept of you should be commenting on people's content a lot more than you are broadcasting. It's all about a conversation with your audience rather than you yelling at their freaking face, and then you'll care about them. That's why live streamers are so popular when they're growing, right? They do the same thing that you talked about a moment ago, Ross. Growing live streamers reply to every comment they can and chat as they're growing. And that's why that's how they actually built that core audience. Perrin, what do you think? Are we crazy here, or should we just shut up and run some advertisements and then people will care about us?
Advertising is not a good way to get people to care about you necessarily, unless the content is good. So taking that a step further, if you're going to form relationships with people online, you have to be first and foremost a human being online. So for me, it's show that you're human. Show that show your human qualities, embrace your human faults, embrace making mistakes, be genuine. As a marketer, I like, because a marketer, it's a tough position to be in, because I hate marketing because most of the time it's not genuine. But the reason I'm in this business and I'm in helping the creator business is because in the creator business, generally speaking, people are more genuine and the marketing is more genuine. You've got creators genuinely finding products they like and endorsing them. And you have them starting from a very human place saying, this is what I want to do. Join this journey with me. Here are my struggles. What are your struggles? Let's work on those together. So that normally requires being on camera, because how can you know that someone is a human being if they're just a picture throwing text at you all day long? It's hard. It's hard to get that human connection from that. So you need to have some sort of content type. If only there was a sort of content type that allows you to, in real time, see another human being and talk to their face. Oh, wait, there is live video, which is why live video is like the best in all of the algorithms. That's why you have to go video. That's why when you go into the live streaming, normally, let's say you're going in as a gaming live streamer. That's what I'm most familiar with. Mm-hmm. If you don't have your mug on camera, you're just going to not do as well. Because you can be great at replying and engaging to people in chat, but if they don't see you as a human being reacting to them in chat and talking to them, they're not going to get the same human connection that they would somewhere else. So that is paramount. It is one of the most important things. And after having been in this business, working with so many different creators, the one thing that separates good ones from mediocre ones is the ones that can get on camera and just be as human as possible. And that means, like, whenever they totally mess up or they totally do something really, really wrong, they just own it. They come out and they just talk real talk. And they are always just being as genuinely human and true to themselves as possible. That, to me, is how you get true engagement, is you take whatever human qualities and lack thereof that you have and you put those online. That can be hard to do. That can be a hard barrier to get past, to put yourself out there. But if you talk to any other successful creator, that's the step that you got to take. You got to put yourself out there.
I love it. And, just a practical tip for everybody here. And this is something that you should make a part of your daily routine. It is difficult to go through your feed on your YouTube Studio app or on Twitter and reply to every comment. I get it. And so you're going to have to make some sacrifices in your life if you want people to care about you online. So what I mean by that is, I'm just going to have more real talk. You said, hey, let's have a real talk. Let's have real talk. When you're sitting on the toilet every day, which you do every single day, instead of just flipping through Reddit or just reading some articles or just like doing whatever for your own pleasure, like for stuff that you enjoy, topics that you're really interested in, you should sit there and reply to people's comments and make that a part of your life during that time. Okay. When you go take a walk around the block, if you're getting hundreds of comments on your YouTube videos like I do, or on Twitter, Ross has like thousands of comments on his. When you're taking a walk around the block, reply to 3 comments, walk a little bit. Reply to 3 comments, walk a little bit. You have to make replying to people and engaging with people a part of your life. And it means that maybe that headspace that you had otherwise, where you were just playing some mobile games or taking a dump in peace, you're going to have to spend your time and your energy and pour it in to the people that are engaging with you on your socials, or it's a giant wasted opportunity. And you're going to have to make those little adjustments in your life accordingly. You can't just talk to people. You can't just yell at people and expect them to care. It's just not the way that it works. It's just that's not reality. Ross, speaking of which, when you have so many people commenting, and how do you make a selection between which comments you want to engage with, which ones you don't? And most importantly, how do you filter out the hot steaming pile of garbage that can be there on Twitter or YouTube or any platform where people are getting negative? How do you balance those things, and how do you stay sane given the kind of fire hose of engagement that's coming into your feed every single day?
Well, first of all, I love how giving a shit is literally the theme of the episode, both literally and metaphorically now. Thank you, AWOL,
giving
for that visual.
Giving a literal shit.
Oh, great way to wake up. No, it's as far as filtering out, a lot of people, I approach trolls and that kind of thing differently. Now, I imagine so like a lot of companies and stuff aren't going to get the same amount of trolls as somebody that's strictly in the gaming community. But trolls initially, when what I've learned is trolls are just people that are most of the time they don't mean any ill intent by it. They're just being sarcastic, like you and your best friend are.
Yeah.
And if you cover up their username and look at that person as if they are your best friend, the conversation becomes a lot more clear. Where it gets nasty is when you misinterpret it, fire back, then they get angry. It creates a chain reaction. If you reply to a troll, ha ha ha, and then follow up with a question 9 out of 10 times, it's going to turn out to be a good conversation. But with that said,
Wow,
you do
I
have to do
love
some
that.
filtering.
Well, let's hit a pause button on that, Ross. Let's hit a pause button
Okay,
on that.
let's do it.
So you think about everybody on the internet, and you just assume, you kind of look at them as like, this person is my best friend, and I'm just going to be their buddy. And that's like your starting point. That's like your starting gate with the way that you think about everybody on the internet that's engaging with you. And you try to avoid making any assumptions about anyone. And it's kind of like you're walking into a party and you just want to make friends. That's what it sounds like to me. Even if somebody comes up to you in the party and it's just like, yo, what's up, dick? Is the first thing they say. That's really interesting. Is that a fair way that you view the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to do online than at a party when someone gets in your face. But
Right.
it's a lot less intimidating.
Right, sure.
Essentially, yeah, that's one way to approach it because I give them the benefit of the doubt that is also how they are approaching the situation, if that makes any sense.
That does. And I think that you're giving people a lot of credit. And that's something that we need to do more today, I think. I think a lot of people, when they talk about Twitter or conversations and comments and what have you on the internet, a lot of people assume like comments, people, they're just trash. Yeah, but like 99% of people are great. There's 1% of people that are actually trash and they like have mental illness or they had like a terrible upbringing with a dad that treated them like crap and they're like broken people. But 99% of people are great. So I love that assumption because I think that's closer to reality than Twitter is so divisive or YouTube comments are so divisive. And sure they are, but at the end of the day, most people there are good people. I love that. I love that point of view.
Yeah, it's really just about how you approach it. And keeping that state of mind also is just generally better for your just mental aptitude, trying to stay positive. But there is trash. There is a lot of trash out there. And the easiest thing to do with trash is what I typically do is if someone who makes a real trash comment, whether it's towards me or somebody else that's commenting in them, I just make them unfollow me. And you can do that by blocking them and then unblocking them. And then they automatically unfollow you and they don't know the difference. They're just not seeing your content anymore.
Ooh.
Or you can mute them or just straight up block them. It doesn't matter. We've kind of had the policy in the past that with trolls, the best thing to do is just to completely ignore them, not blocking them, because that's just going to cause more drama. And that's probably the safe bet. But yeah, you have to filter out the trash, and unfortunately, you will encounter it, especially on social media. There's a lot of toxicity, but at the same time, when you can learn to get, when you can learn to get past that and actually use that as your advantage, use these people to your advantage to create more engagement around what you're trying to do, then it serves its purpose.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So let's talk. I love that practical example of block and unblock. It makes them automatically unfollow you.
Yeah.
Let's talk more practical examples of things that people can build into their everyday routine to just be thinking, I'm doing things to get them to engage. So obviously replying to comments on the toilet, one great best practice. But in terms of the content that you're scheduling up, you can ahead of time schedule up content that is specifically designed to solicit a response. So Perrin, what are some of those content types that you can think of for social media that we have regularly used when we're looking at our numbers and we're like, engagements went lower last January. Why? We're like, oh crap, well, we forgot to post these types of content. What are those kinds of content that'll get people to reply to you, to like, to retweet, and to just really have a conversation with you and your brand?
Sometimes this is so silly. And I remember like when we figured out the strategy and started doing it and how much it worked, we're like, why didn't we think of this in the first place? But simply ask questions of your followers in your content. So we did a strategy, and I think this started back on TGN. And when we did this, we're like, oh my God, I can't believe this works so well. But you just take a question and you put it in an image.
Yesterday. Yeah.
It doesn't have to necessarily be in the image. You just ask the opinions of the people following you, like care about what they think. And when you ask them a question about that, and the whole point of the content is to get their feedback, get their opinions, they're going to want to share their opinions. That's basically why they're on social media in the first place. So in gaming, it's like, what was the first game you ever played? Go. What was like the worst game you ever played? Go. And there's like an endless cycle of questions that you can ask. So that's always a good one. Another one that I see nowadays that some of the bigger accounts do, like the Wendy's, Twitter does this, is GIF your mood right now. And then everyone kind of like replies in a GIF of their current mood. And then your main account, then there's a follow-up here. You have to go and you have to reply to as many of those GIF moods as you can with something witty and creative. So not only is it a content piece, but you think of posting a content piece not as schedule it, set it, and forget it, but set up your content as a strategy of this, I'm going to post this content. Then the next part of the strategy is witty engagement replies on all the different GIFs. It's so easy to do with GIFs and memes. You want to set yourself up for success with your strategy like that. So I really like those. The other one that's big, Reddit just added this too, because it's just like a no-brainer, is polls. And I know we've talked about this on the cast before. On Twitter, when you have a poll, you can't see the results unless you vote in it. So you've got to get some user input there. So polls are also a good way to do it. Just think of it in general. You don't have to those are good content types, but if you just think in general of how can I get my fan base or my following to want to share their opinions? First of all, show that you want to know their opinions. And second of all, give them an enticing topic that they just can't help but participate in. Yeah. And if you do that and do it with an engaging piece of media, if you just put in, again, we're going to use Twitter as an example, just put in a text question and just post, it's probably not going to do that great. But, you throw an image here, keep it Nintendo 64, pick 2, right? You've got the image, bringing back nostalgia, Star Fox 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon. Everyone remembers these visual nostalgia reminders. You're hitting on emotion already. Now you're drumming up some opinions. Go, right? Use the media to your advantage. You just cross that out. So
it's such engaging content. So for those of you that are listening to the audio version, this is a meme posted on VGF Gamers very recently. And it just has keeping it 64, pick 2. And it just has a list of classic Nintendo 64 games. And the comments on this are they bottom out Twitter. They almost broke Twitter's servers. And it's interesting because Ross threw in Pokemon Snap, a crazy example of something that you could have chosen out of the examples in this kind of, in the choices he gave his audience. And that's one strategy, Perrin, that we've also used that I think, inspired us to do, where if you create polls or you give your audience a choice, give them one troll choice or one funny choice, which will drive even more conversations. So if you do a poll, options 1, 2, and 3 can be legitimate options. Then option 4 is just something stupid or something inflammatory to drive conversations. And that can really kind of bump things up a bit. It shows that you have a sense of humor, and it shows that you really understand your audience.
Yeah, and it's all about engaging them in a way that they're compelled to respond. They almost have to respond. And this works. I remember when we implemented this type of thinking into our social strategy, and I remember specifically looking at the numbers on the analytical side, and everything just skyrocketed. If you want your audience to be engaged and you want them to participate, give them a way to actually participate that they over and over and over again. And we've been doing this ever since we started the strategy. We've been doing it continuously since then. So it's been 6 or 7 years since we had figured that out, and it's always been a growth strategy for social.
That makes sense. I love it. Just like building into your content strategy ways to get people to talk to you. Let's talk about things that you shouldn't do to get people to care about you. Because there are some things that you see out there that I think are best practices. And on YouTubers out there in particular, this is something that I see a lot and is really bad. It's really terrible. And what I'm talking about is shoving in 3 call to actions at the beginning or end of your video and to get artificial engagement on your video, because you know it's good when people like or comment. So you're like, all right, guys, before we get into the video today, let's go ahead and give this video a like. Go ahead and subscribe, enable notifications, and be sure to leave a comment below. And like you do 3 call to actions all at once to try to artificially drive up your numbers. All 3 of those call to actions are total hot garbage. So whenever you're doing a call to action for your audience to actually reply to you, give them a reason and only do 1. So let's take this example. This YouTuber, which is the typical YouTuber, asks you to subscribe, like, and comment below all at once, but gave you no reasons to do any of those 3 things. So if you want people to subscribe, you should say something like, and if you'd like more daily tech videos, and I have one coming up later this week, actually, where I'm reviewing XYZ, then subscribe to my channel, enable notifications, and you'll be staying on top of the latest phones. Let's say you have a phone review channel. Yay, I just gave people a reason to engage with me and to do the thing I asked. With comment below, we just talked about examples of giving people a topic or giving them a number of choices to comment below. You just tell people to comment. The fuck are they going to comment on? Like, you didn't give them anything to comment on. If you're talking about a topic, like you did a, let's say you're talking about a controversial topic and you just say, let me know what you think below. That's garbage. Ask people, what do you think about what Jessica said to John in the latest episode of that Bravo show? Was she too drunk, or was he just being an asshole? Post in the comments below. If you give people an actual question to answer, that's actually on topic, and it's something inflammatory and it's something interesting, then people will go crazy in the comments below. But just asking them to comment is so stupid. You're just wasting your breath, and people just tune you out and they're like, oh, this person just wants something out of me. Ugh. Right? I mean, do you guys experience the same thing as a viewer? And when we've attempted to just artificially boost numbers?
Yeah, it doesn't work. By the way, John was being an asshole.
He was. There's the formula for YouTubers.
I'm just being an asshole, or was Sammy like...
that I'll leave the video. It's like intro logo. If the first thing I see is the intro logo, and then like the next thing they do within a minute or two is like, they say like or subscribe or whatever, then I'm out. I'm out of that video. I already know that YouTuber needs to do some work.
Yep.
And you hit the nail on the head. That's like, I mean, nowadays when I see that, I just like shake my head and just exit the video. Even if it's something that I wanted to genuinely watch, I'm done, because you're asking for things up front, but you're not giving me anything first. You're like, check out my branding. Look how cool I am. Care about my stuff. I'm like, well, why should I? Why should I care? Give me a reason. Yeah. Like you said, I need a reason.
Yeah. Speaking of which, when you watch the replays of the Digital Drop or you listen to it, there's no Digital Drop logos anywhere on the screen. There's no intros. We just get straight into the content. That's it. And then at the very end of the episode, I tell you, if you want to watch the replay of each one of these episodes, we upload it to YouTube, and we upload it on every audio platform for podcasting, so you can check out the replay. It's out there for you, Digital Drop Podcast. And if you want to watch us live, we're here at 9 a.m. Eastern every single weekday on Twitter. You see how I just gave you a resource? If you want more, you can go check out this thing for more. That's it. I'm not asking you to like and to retweet and to comment and to do all this artificial bullshit, because I don't have anything interesting to ask you to comment on right now. And so I'm not going to do it. You get it? Good. That's going to end this episode of the Digital Drop Podcast. Y'all go get it. And you guys tag us at Digital Drop Pod on some of your polls and some of your content that you think is engaging. And we'll let you know by being a troll in the comments of your content. And let's see if you properly handle us. And if you listen to the content of our podcast today, you actually listen to our advice. Did you block and unblock us? Let's see if you can actually pull that off. See you in the next episode, boys. That was fun. And we'll be here every weekday at 9 a.m. on Twitter. Adios, amigos. Go care about your audience.